So let's look into some rotations, and I'm going to use this Desmos activity, exploring rotations, that we had in class to help kind of explain this. All right, so we have a rotation here. This is on the first slide. All right, if we try to rotate this, it doesn't quite work, kind of like the golfing activity that we did before. But if we move this down to the origin, then we can, then it works, all right? And so what's happening with this rotation here is we say it's rotating 90 degrees about the origin. So we got to know the degrees that it's rotating and the what it's rotating around, all right? Well, how about this one? Is this rotating around the origin? No, doesn't look like it is. So if we do that, rotation is not working. So we've got to move this point, and if we play around with some different points, we'll get closer, but looks like it's got to be here. So this one is rotating 90 degrees about the point 2, 1. So we're rotating 90 degrees. We can also say it's rotating counterclockwise there. All right, so this direction here is counterclockwise. So now we want to look at a rotation of another shape here. Let's look at this triangle, and we want to rotate it. Now, rotating, we're going to rotate here 90 degrees counterclockwise. A good way to do this, it's easier with paper maybe than a computer screen, but a good way to do this is to actually rotate the graph. So there I rotated the graph 90 degrees. Now look at the points. Okay, imagine that this is our regular x-axis. This is positive over here. This is positive up. Then this point right here, the way we're looking at it, is -2, 1. All right? So the new C is at -2, 1. The new B here is at -1, 3. See that? So looking at it the way that it's sitting right now, -1, 3. All right? And the new A is going to be at -4, 1. So A prime is at -4, 1. Now, if I rotate this back, spin this back now, I can graph those points. I'm going to move these coordinates here now, and I'll put them in that spot. C is at -2, 1. My A was at -4, 1. My B was at -1, 3. There it is. Now, just to verify that, I can go transform, and I can highlight that, and there they are. So there's my coordinates. Okay, now notice the coordinates. Look, A went from 1, 4 to -4, 1. B went from 3, 1 to -1, 3. Notice they're the same numbers, just flipped around in their opposite sides, all right? Let's look at another one. Now we want to rotate A, B, and C 180 degrees. Again, if we can spin the graph, or spin the way you're looking at the graph at least, then we can get this. Okay, so what happened there? So notice A is on top, B is on bottom. When we spin it around 180 degrees, that's a half of a circle. Now let's look at our coordinates. Where's A? Again, this is positive. Just look at it. Okay, put your head straight now. Ignore all these letters over here. Just look at this. Okay, A is now at -1, left 1, down 4. Left 1, down 4. Well, that's A is at -1, -4. B is at left 4, nope, 3, left 3, down 1. That is B prime is -3, -1. Where'd my A go? My A is, there we go. All right, and the C, well, C is at -1, -2. So C prime is going to be -1, -2. Now, let's go graph that. So if we put our graph back straight, then we can say where those points are at. Let's move it. We've got the A point. So I move the A point down to -1, -4, C point down to -1, -2, and the B point over here, using what we discovered. And let's check to see if that's right. So I can go to my transform menu. I'll highlight that stuff and I'll apply it. Yep, looks like we got it. So again, there's our points. So notice 1, 4 went to -1, -4. B went to -3, -1. Notice these coordinates just changed. Oops, that one's wrong, right? That one was actually -2, -1. Notice they're just opposites. So that's a 180-degree rotation there. Well, let's go look at one more. What if we do 3/4 turns, a 270? So now we want to rotate this 270 degrees. So we're going to take our graph and we're going to rotate this thing 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and another 1/4 turn, 270. So that's 270 degrees. Now look at it the way it is. I know that the picture's all funky, but just ignore this bit right here. Just ignore that stuff down there. So where are the coordinates? We've got A is at right 4, down 1. So A prime is at right 4, down 1, 4, -1. B is at right 1, down 3. So B prime is at right 1, so it's +1, and down 3. And C is right 2, down 1. So C prime is right 2, down 1. So it works real nice to rotate this, and if you got paper in front of you, go ahead and do that. And now we'll rotate it back. And as we rotate this back, then we can graph our points here. So I've graphed these points over here, 4, -1, 1, -3, 2, -1. There's our points, A prime, B prime, C prime. And now let's check it out. Let's transform this by selecting these ones and applying the rotation of 270 degrees that's already entered for you here. So rotate it 270 degrees. There it is. It went all the way around here, even though the short distance here went all the way around onto over here. Okay, now look at the points, and we'll make a generalization and wrap this up. So 1, 4 goes to 4, -1. 3, 1 goes to 1, -3. 2, 1 goes to 1, -2. Notice the x and y coordinates switch places, and this second coordinate becomes the opposite. So techniques, rotating your paper like I just did, but also noticing these patterns. And if we look at the next page, we'll look at some patterns here. So let's look at some rules here. Once again, you've got that technique of rotating the paper. That works really good. Rotate the paper, write the coordinates, and then put it back and graph. But let's consider a point like 4, 1 here. What happens when we rotate this 90 degrees? It's going to end up next to this axis. And what's that going to be? That's going to be like -1, 4, right? So that'll be -1, 4. So if we rotate it 90 degrees, what happens to the coordinates? They flipped places, and one became negative. So notice it was AB. Well, that's going to change places to B, comma A. And that first coordinate is going to be opposite. Went from a +1 to a -4. Okay. Now, what if we rotate it another 90 degrees? So it'll be 270 degrees. So it'll be like this. It's going to end up over here. What's that coordinate? Well, it's going to have the same numbers, just mixed around. It's going to be right 4, down 1, or actually left 4, down 1. So that's -4, -1. So what happened there? Well, the coordinates that were 4, 1 became -4, -1. They didn't change places. They just became opposite. So if we have AB here, AB is going to become -A, comma, -B, the opposites. So with a 180-degree rotation, they just change signs like that. And then last but not least, if we go another 90 degrees, so in other words, 270 degrees there, then we're going to end up with 1, -4. You can see, again, it's going to be the same numbers, just different order. So what happened there? The 4, 1 became 1, negative 4, all right? So I think he's jumping a bit here on me. But so they swap places. So AB is what we started with, becomes B comma A. And it looks like that last one, that second coordinate, went from positive 4 to a negative 4. So positive 8 to negative 8. All right, well, that's the idea there. And so we have this connection. If we go 90 degrees, then they're going to switch, and the first one becomes negative. If we do 180, they just both become negative. And if we spin it 270, then they flip places, and the second one switches sign. Okay, now that's the idea. All right, hope that helps. So we can use those to either use the rule or use the paper spinning to find the new coordinates of the new points in a rotation.